But look at you, deep thinking Cole, 9 years old.
Yeah, I was like, I need to address this, and I need to be a better white man. So.
Welcome, once again, to Chill Filtered, the podcast where we don't meander and we get our facts straight.
100%.
Now, let's get to the whiskey. Today, we're drinking whiskey. No, welcome to Chill Filter, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to, but you probably should. You probably are, and that's why we like you. And you know what? We're ready to have a fun time today.
Yeah, we're ready to meander a little bit here and there, too.
Meander, and if we'll get something wrong.
Yeah, we might get something wrong.
We'll get back to it and say, hey, we made a mistake.
And correct us in a nice way.
Please join us for a drink. Won't you give the boys a chance? Hey, speaking of which, quick shout out. Brian Rapp, did you see he joined the pity party on Monday and left a nice review. And in his review, he said, if you're going to start listening, start with the newest episode. So thanks, Brian. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah.
What
a baller. Give me a second. Give me a hot freaking second. What a baller, Brian. Thanks for doing that.
So appreciate that.
And it's not too late to do it, other listener who's never left a review yet.
No, man. So anyway, a little bit more business. Hit us up on Instagram. Let us know what's going on with you.
Totally.
We'd
reach out with a message.
Reach out and touch someone.
Yeah, reach out and touch faith. Your own.
Touching hands. Reaching out.
Oh, very different song.
It's fine. We went two different ways. It's fine.
I like it. We could do a mashup.
It's a beautiful thing.
I saw this meme online that was like a chair that was like, it looked like it was like the shape of Jesus sitting down, and you like sit down on Jesus lap. but the what do you call it, the quip at the bottom was like
the quip
someone who knows crap. Now I'm
it's better
someone
than
who knows and cares, someone whose chair.
you know what's better than finding a really funny meme
is forgetting
listening to somebody try to explain a visual content.
Well, there's this old Far Side comic strip where he's like, the caption is public reading of comics, and then this guy's like holding a book, and he's like, and then in the next panel, I think the dog says,
Mitzelplix, sorry, we have already lost him. We haven't even got through the business.
Some people don't like meandering. So my wife doesn't like meandering. She likes kind of to the facts with her podcast. So
she's a Joe Friday, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You need those sometimes. Speaking of chairs, it's an interesting morning for me because it is 7:50 right now, and I'm drinking with my buddy. And my wife had to go to work, and Juniper was in the tub because she just wanted to be in the tub this morning. I was like, I got to get this kid out of the tub before we start.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she's in the tub. I go in to take a quick shower because I can't look all. I gotta look pretty beautiful for the tubes, right? And there's a chair sitting right outside the shower. And I go, Charles, what's this chair here for? Like, so we can watch each other shower or something? And she goes, oh, actually, Judy put it there so she could watch me shower yesterday. Like, oh,
that's great.
Okay. So, that's life with kids. And right now, great. Like, I bribe them so hard, just hey, please be good for daddy while I'm recording. So hopefully we don't have any break-ins. But
anyway.
So
do you bribe them before or after? I guess you warn them before, bribe them after.
You deliver the bribe. You bribe them before, you deliver the bribe after. So whoa.
I don't know what's going on in my mouth.
Is it early morning congestion?
You ever heard of tonsil stones?
Yeah, do you get them?
Yeah, like lately, for some reason, I just pulled 2 out.
Oh, yeah. Ugh, they're disgusting.
Look them up, people. I'm not going to describe what they are.
No, I used to get them before I had my tonsils out.
Oh, really?
Do you get like strep throat and sore throats a lot?
No, I did get it with COVID, but I don't often, though.
Okay, because I used to get strep throat and sore throats all the time, and I would have tonsil stones. So then I was like, I just got to get these suckers out.
Yeah,
and it was
more tonsil stones. When did you get them out? How old were you?
Oh, remember we didn't know it was when we did the podcast.
Oh, that's right. That was recently.
We had to. It was last
like
summer?
August or something.
2 summers ago.
We pre-recorded a lot in Vegas so that we could No, it was like
No,
yeah,
it was the
summers.
summer before that. 2 summers, yeah. But it was like the
but we
worst.
pre-recorded, yeah.
Apparently, if you do it as a kid, it's like one day you feel sick, and then the next day you're back, baby.
Oh, nice.
As an adult, it was like the worst 5 days of my life. It was awful.
Oh, that's rough. And then
But
you can't eat good things. Like you
oh
can't eat
gosh,
a burger.
I think I lost 15 pounds because all I was eating was like I'd have a popsicle maybe every 5 hours, and that didn't. It's not the weight gain stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, also on the business, hit us up on patreon.com/chillfilter. Cole, how you doing, man? How's life? It took us a while. We got there.
I felt like we went into you.
Well, we went into
I guess inadvertently.
Jesus chairs, shower chairs.
That's right. Jesus
comic
chair,
reading
shower
memes.
Chair. And now I remember the actual
stones.
quote. It was someone who hears your prayers, someone whose chair. Anyway, shout out to Depeche Mode. So yeah, how am I doing? It's been a pretty average week. Although one thing I'm excited about this week, I've been trying to convince Heather to sleep train our little daughters. Or why did I say daughters? I was thinking you have daughters. I have daughters.
I have daughters. You have daughter.
Don't call me daughter. Shout out to Pearl Jam. Yeah. So I've been trying to convince her for a while, and I'm just like, and I'm not saying like I want her to suffer, nor do I want to get better sleep. Like I want my baby to have skills for coping in the middle of the night so she is able to do things on her own in a way. And so that's kind of how I attacked it. And I really meant it. Like I definitely don't want our child to be like sheltered to the point where they can't.
It's important for you too. Like,
no
family. It's like, hey,
there are benefits.
A skill you got to have. Are you guys using any books to do that? Like, or any resources?
Not yet. I mean, Heather looked up a lot of stuff online and like some of the research in either direction of sleep training, and she said that.
We gosh, I can't remember. I'll have to ask Chelsea. I'll have to look back for it. We had a really good book that was good. And it's one of those things where it's like you teach them these skills, and after they've learned, you slowly learn each skill, then they're usually ready to sleep on their own.
Yeah, and I'm ready. And so it was first night was 2 nights ago.
Oh yeah. Okay, how'd it go?
And she cried. I wasn't there when she went to bed because I was doing something out. But she went to bed and cried, maybe like fussed around for a little bit for about 20 minutes, my wife said. And then after that, she probably woke up one time in the middle of the night and cried for about maybe 20 minutes or so, maybe 20, 30. And then went back to bed and woke up like I had to wake her up in the morning. Which sometimes she'll, like if it were like past a certain time in the morning, we'll wake her up and feed her. But then last night she did cry a little bit longer at the beginning, but I don't think she cried throughout the whole night.
Oh, good.
And so it's working. I've heard of stories of sleep training where like they will cry until they throw up or cry all night. And like these kind of sad things. And it's like, yeah, it's not fun at all, but it's good. It's a good thing in my opinion. Some people might disagree.
I think, yeah, I think we went to, I think what we did, it was easier with the twins because you had a built-in time where it's like, you're on your own right now because I got to take care of this kid. So they kind of learned a little bit that way. Mara was easy. All Mara did when we brought her back was eat and sleep. Like, honestly, like Ruby tells her, like, I just want to be with my kid, but she would just eat and sleep because she was just needed that stuff. So,
yeah.
Well, good for you guys. Good for her. And I will say this. She'll nail it, and then there'll be points where it just regresses.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. But I got great sleep the last 2 nights. It was amazing.
Good. Oh man.
Otherwise, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You.
Oh yeah. Otherwise, life's good. I'm still doing well with my job. I had a presentation this week that was on some work that I had put in for a few weeks. That was working with this one guy. And this guy, like the head of claims for this insurance company and the head of analytics were in the meeting. And I was asked a lot of questions, like kind of guided through a lot of stuff. Pretty much
were you like, hey, I'm the one that asked the question.
Yeah. I'm the question guy. Yeah, especially
who riddle you this
guy. Yeah, exactly. And so I I did pretty well, and I felt like I did pretty well. And then my boss pulled me into his office later that day, and he's like, "I've only gotten compliments, like really good compliments on how you did this morning on in that meeting." So I was like, "Wow, what a great way to like start your first project at a job." So I was encouraged by that. I was pleasantly surprised with myself. Like I said before, you kind of expect a learning curve, which there is. There's still more to learn and there's still more to figure out. But there's also, you kind of expect to have grace with yourself and say, like, I might not be where I want to be for at least 6 months. But so far, I'm like thriving. It feels like. And maybe they'll hand me some projects that are a little harder and that'll need more, time to learn and stuff. But so far, it's been great. And yeah, I kind of like it. Kind of like working there.
Good.
Yeah. And then what else is going on in life? What do I got going on? Oh, I'm meeting after this. I am meeting with one of my prior bosses at my last job. Not the one I most recently had, but one I had for a time, about a year or so after I started at my last company. And I've never actually met him in person. He was my boss for like about a year, but it was all remote. And he lived in Chicago. I lived in Arizona. And so, yeah, that was cool. That's going to be cool. Hopefully that was super cool after. Yeah. But by the time this comes out, it will.
It was cool. Yeah.
So, but that's my life.
That reminds me. And maybe we need to talk about it off air first, but do we have a drink along plan for this month?
We need to. What is it?
We need to.
12th. Yeah. So maybe we'll plan it maybe for next weekend or the weekend after, whatever works for.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. So
we'll figure it out on break.
Yeah.
While we're walking and talking.
And for me, kicking up a few more tonsil stones. Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, so
weird.
Record. Oh, I hated those. Those are awful.
I've never had so many. Besides,
are you on antibiotics?
Nah.
Because like when you take antibiotics, they'll start shedding,
or
whatever, because it's a bacteria.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to say, I feel okay. If you want to get trashed,
if you're into that,
and drink some good whiskey while you listen to this podcast, I get so annoyed by how many times I have to clear my throat. And I was talking to Chelsea, she's like, "You need to get on like some allergy type stuff because I am." But then like this morning like we're recording early, so like I got morning congestion. So I am so sorry, folks. I just keep hacking and coughing. Cole's puking up tonsil stones.
Yeah, hacking all over the place.
It's crazy. So this week has been pretty cool, man. My 8th period class is my social skills, and so we'll play a lot of games. We've been playing basketball lately, and I've got this peer tutor who is really he's a pretty good basketball player, and he's about my height.
What's his title?
Peer tutor. Go
on.
Anyway, so it's this general kid that comes in and kind of helps out. But we play basketball, and he's pretty good, and so like he plays on a lot of AAU teams, and like he'll play like a bunch of like NBA, ex-NBA players, kids kind of stuff.
Oh, wow.
And so we're playing with him, and he said something like, he was talking trash. I'm like, yeah, good for you. You're beating up on like a 40-year-old fat guy. And he goes, yeah, but you're like a fit 40-year-old fat guy.
Nice.
I was like, I don't know how to take that, but I'm going to take that. Yeah. So it's been pretty fun. I've been
you work out, you keep in shape.
Dude, I'm at my heaviest I've ever been. So
really?
I'm needing to drop weight. Yeah.
May I ask?
Yeah. I don't want to say.
Okay, cool.
No, about 235.
Oh, what? You?
Yeah, I'm getting big, man.
Keep in mind, listeners, Robbie's like 6'3", 6'2", right?
6'3 3/4.
Yeah, there we go. So almost.
Well, let me claim 6'4". Yeah, so I do. No, I need to drop some weight. I've been a little too indulgent, if you know what I mean. So
yeah, no, I do know what you mean. Yeah. I'm still rocking that wager diet, and it is. I told Heather the other day, I'm like, this is so good for me, but I hate it so much.
Yeah.
Because now I'm starting to work out in like weights, and now I got to be careful of weight gain because of the protein and just like like lifted weights and stuff, and so now I got to maintain. I'm at my goal weight, so the thing is, once you hit your goal weight, you maintain, and so I got to like be extra losing. I got to like lose weight in order to put on weight and maintain.
That doesn't sound healthy. If
no, here's what it is.
If you're putting on muscle, that's okay.
Yeah, no, it is good, but
now you got to like
what I'm going for.
Like body fat.
Yeah, but it's not like I'm like starving myself. I'm just eating a lot more high protein, low carb stuff. So it's like I lose weight by eating high protein, low carb stuff, and then I gain weight by working out with the protein. And so it kind of evens out all together. And maybe I'll just get super like what do you call it? Like cut and what's the word? Toned. Toned is the word I'm looking for.
Cut works.
Yeah. People know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So,
No,
yeah, but go on. You were talking about life.
I think you need to readjust that though, because if you're at your weight and you're like, it's you get to a certain point where it's like, okay, now making muscle gains is more important than losing weight.
That's true.
And so I don't know.
Those
muscle weighs more than fat.
Yeah.
Yep. Does muscle
weigh
more than
fat? I want to see how
it
goes. It does. Very much does.
Yeah. Okay.
But I want to see how it goes for a little bit. If I can like actually put on weight while losing weight. Like, of course, there's going to be different kinds of weights.
Put on muscle while losing weight.
Put on muscle while losing weight.
Okay. Yeah. Put on weight while losing weight.
It's mathematics.
I'm filling this giant bucket with a hole in the bottom. Anyway, hey Cole, I think it's time. Like, should we move on?
Yeah, I think it's about time. Let's go into a walk break, and we'll be back, and we'll talk about what we're drinking today, which is Paul John Peated Select Cask. So let's send it to break. We'll be right back. All right, we're back from break, and we're animated for those YouTube listeners. And we've actually been getting some likes and stuff on our YouTube videos.
Oh, perfect!
You're watching,
I like the likes.
Give us a like, and give us a subscribe, as they say.
Subscribe and hit that bell.
Smash that subscribe
like button. Exactly. Whatever. Yeah,
whatever.
Don't forget to comment down below.
It would help us. Yeah, exactly. And we love comments.
Like whiskey. Do you like whiskey?
Yeah. Comment down below if you're into whiskey. Yeah. Anyway, so a shout out I wanted to give to my friend Daniel. I don't know if he's a full-time listener, but he might have listened to a few.
Do we employ any full-time listeners?
Not paid. It's kind of like unpaid interns, basically.
Okay, gotcha.
Shout out to my friend Daniel for waiting in line for a few hours just to snag me a white whale whiskey. He literally waited in line for me he did it twice. He did it for himself and then got it for another. He did it again for me so he can get me batch 17 of Stag Junior, which was super nice.
So you got it, huh?
Big shout out. Yeah. Big shout out to Daniel for being a baller. So, it's hard.
Oh,
maybe I should do these cool big ones.
Ooh, yeah, I like the.
Oh no! His corn blows is the best. Thanks. Another shout out to John from Embellish Pod. So, what we're drinking today is Paul John Peated Select Cask at 55.5%. This is not only our first Paul John product on the podcast; it is our first Indian whiskey that we're doing. So grateful that countries like India can make good whiskey too. Let's talk about. So I wanted to talk.
Is it good?
About you know what?
We'll
find
see.
That
I don't know.
Yeah. I have sipped it, but there are good. I've had good Indian whiskey before for sure. And I didn't want to talk about John Distilleries, and that's JOHN, but I might say the word JAWN, the Philly slang John, many times this episode. So just be ready to interchange them whenever you feel like it.
Oh man, that's your rapper name.
Yeah,
Philly slang John.
Philly slang John. Yep. Yeah, and then my album called Halfway to Heather. Yeah.
No,
although that's not very
totally
much
different
a rap
genre.
Album.
That's
that's
genre.
indie genre.
Yeah, you're like a early Kid Rock where you cross over to multiple avenues of music.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
You're more of a what's the sail this vessel to the river runs dry. Garth Brooks. You're more like a Garth Brooks with what was his? He had his Garth Brooks dude in his country, and then he had his Chris. He had an alter ego. You remember that?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay, you talk for a second. I'm gonna look it up.
Okay, cool.
It's pretty.
Garth Brooks alter ego. That sounds really interesting. But yeah, we are drinking. Yeah, basically, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I didn't want to talk about John distilleries. I wanted to talk about Indian whiskey in general this week. And maybe one day when we do another Paul John episode, I'll talk about the actual distillery. But here goes. So in the whiskey world these days, there are a few Indian whiskeys that come to mind. One is from Amrut. That's Amrut. And I remember trying Amrut Fusion in 2015 and being very impressed. Since then, I heard of Paul John from Jim Murray in his 2021 Whiskey Bible, where it came in third for the World Whiskey of the Year. And just behind Alberta Premium Cask Strength at that one we were talking about the other day. And then Stag Junior Batch 13, which I realized I have a bottle of that. And here's the thing, even though it's my White Whale whiskey, it's my White Whale whiskey at retail. So I did get it a little above retail and somewhat regret it, but apparently 13 is not a highly regarded batch by most people, at least what I've talked to.
It's all good, man.
But
then they can give it to me.
Yeah, I'll take it. I mean, it's freaking Stag Junior. Anyway, that specific Paul John release that won third place was called Mithuna. I don't know if that's the exact pronunciation, but Mithuna. That being said, there are a few Indian distilleries, and they're known in the whiskey world for their single malt whiskeys. The hard thing is, for a big country like India, especially those two distilleries are fighting against what most would not call whiskey, if that makes any sense. India so far does not have a regulation for what Indian whiskey is. And for apparently 90% of the case in India, whiskey is more like rum, based on a molasses fermentation and incorporating potentially even neutral grain spirits or flavorings. And they can still call it whiskey in India. And it would behoove India to celebrate true whiskey, in my opinion, by setting up a standard for the term whiskey that matches the rest of the world in terms of whiskey, or at least the whiskey world. So originally, whiskey was introduced to India in the 1800s with likely Scotch. But remember, we talked about the old days when you made whiskey. It was basically because you had surplus grain and you needed something to do with it. And whiskey doesn't spoil like grain can if it gets too old. So you can make whiskey and drink, or, sell it or barter it or whatever you want. So that was kind of the old days when you had extra grain. That's kind of what you did with it. But what if grain is not abundant? What if poverty is pretty rampant in your country? And the fact,
then you got serious.
Yeah, exactly. You got all sad real quick. You're like, oh, less animated now. Yeah. But that and the fact that single malt type whiskey was kind of a shock to the system for Indian people at the time. And when it started to be produced in the 1980s, people were like, single malt's a little crazy right now. Let's make it a little sweeter. Let's make it a little more rum-like. And those kind of things led to basically the origin of why they blended single malt Scotch with things like molasses-based spirits or neutral grain spirits. And that's why that, quote, whiskey is prevalent today still in India. But recently, recently as in past the 1980s, in 2004, Amrut decided to bottle a actual single malt product. And part of the reason this was different was because they wanted a good age on the product. If they were going to put out an actual single malt, they wanted to have good age. And so that was kind of the thing, is they needed something. They needed to make sure it had a good few years on it. They realized they didn't have to age as long as Scotch, which is interesting because it really developed truly faster. And was it, because of small barrels or anything, or speed aging? No. It really had to
processes.
Or proprietary processes. Processes. Anyway, no, it's because there's a hot climate in India. That's it. Very different than the cold and wet climate of Scotland. So if you're making a single malt, it might go a little bit faster just because of the evaporation loss and just the general heat that can make the whiskey infuse more of the barrel. So anyway, Paul John followed suit in 2008 and started aging their own single malt whiskey that they officially released in 2012 called Paul John Single Cask 161 Whiskey. So the next time, like I said, the next time we do a Paul John product, I'll talk about the actual distillery. But I thought I'd just give a brief history on Indian whiskey today. So let's talk about the bottle we're drinking today. We are drinking Paul John Peated Select Cask, 55%. Nice little green label, but is it a rye? No, it's not a rye. It's
Why
from
the heck
Goa,
would it
India. Yeah, exactly. Why the heck would it be? Is it because of Joe Magliocco? No. No. It's because
Joe. No.
Joe, I appreciate you, Joe. Michter's is a cool company.
Michter's.
But I don't think you started the green label. I just don't. Even though Old Overholt doesn't have a purely green label, it does have a lot of green in the label. And that's my thought, is like Old Overholt was one of the oldest ryes, at least like historically.
If it wasn't, it'd be New Overholt.
Exactly.
Or just Overholt.
Yeah. And you don't want that.
You don't.
So, yeah. So anyway, Paul John. Wow. John Paul Jones. No. It's from Goa, India, which I looked up the average temperatures. Pretty much all year round, it's not supposed to break 92 degrees Fahrenheit. Ooh, which I was like, okay, that's like not that hot, especially when you're used to. No, it is hot. But like, if that's your max,
actually, you're right. That's not that hot. That's like wearing that's 2 pairs of jeans when you walk around town.
Exactly. Yeah. And then your trench of swampy goodness is like kind of contained in the But anyway, so I was like, it's not too hot. But then I looked at the year-round typical minimum, and the minimum temperature is around 72 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm like, oh, that's hot all year. Like if you're running between 72 and 92, that's a warm climate for sure.
It is.
Anyway, it has no age statement, but it is about 6 to 8 years old. And remember, it might have a little more depth to it than your average 6 to 8 year old single malt because of the climate and temperature. Aged in first fill ex-bourbon barrels, meaning that it was used once but never used again until it was used for this whole thing and stuff. Of course, that being a single malt, it is a 100% malted barley product. And as mentioned, it is 55.5% or 111 proof. Yeah, 111. I was like, crap, did I just screw that up? There's inaccuracy right there.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Picks. Sorry, Mr. Picks.
Exactly. They peated the barley themselves using peat from Scotland. So they imported peat since there is not really a peated climate, or not a peated, like
a
boggy kind of thing in
I bet their bogs are more swamps.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
With
crocodilies. But it's pretty hot down there. Anyway, with those crocodilies. Are there crocodiles in India? There were in Temple of Doom. So
no time for love, Dr. Jones.
Yeah. There's so many good quotes from Shorty. No time for love, Dr. Jones. Anyway, someone's going to hate me for saying that. So total wine price, $89. And let's drink.
Okay.
I mean, there's a quirk pop. Yeah, go ahead.
It's only 8:30. Might as well
get
the drink on.
There it is.
Oh, boy.
That was actually a very loud cork pop, which I dig. I'm into that kind of thing.
All right. Well, we're doing the old swirly poo, getting things done here.
So, yeah.
Oops. No, I hit my mic. Who's that?
That's
Cole?
his alter ego? No. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So he did his Chris Gaines. He called himself Chris Gaines. He released an album. And I remember
same voice and everything, I assume.
But it's it's like a rock kind of emo-y album.
What?
Kind of, for emo-y for like the 90s.
Makes me respect Garth Brooks even more.
But it did decently well. And I think he had Saturday Night Live had like Chris Gaines. And that's kind of where he was like, I'm a Garth Brooks. I think he
came out.
I think he hosted as Garth Brooks and performed music as Chris Gaines. Actually.
And people were like,
you didn't know that?
No, I'm so intrigued. I'm a huge Garth Brooks fan, as I've probably mentioned on the podcast.
Absolutely. We have talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So shout out to John Hughes again. He introduced me to these really cool bulbous, long-stemmed whiskey glasses. They're called like the professional glass from something whiskey. What is wondersofwhiskey.com or something like that.
I gotta be honest.
Mm-hmm.
My stomach's not into drinking whiskey right now.
Rough. Get used to it.
I should have eaten something before we started.
Oh, totally.
I didn't even think of that. I did have a sip of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, and maybe that's part of the problem here.
That'll kick you up a notch.
Yeah.
What do you think of that barrel? Or the you know what? Save it. We'll sip it. Nose on this, definitely peated.
Peaty.
It is not Ardbeg level peaty so far.
It's pretty mild. It's mild. It's mild.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of fruitiness there too. So it's like a sweetie peaty. It's a peaty sweetie.
The campfire is there for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not. I mean, it's not even. I would say it's a medium peat level. It's not even like low peat. It's like medium to me. But like Ardbeg is typically a high level peat level.
Hubbard a friggin' what?
Really?
This is delicious. Didn't want to drink whiskey for a second. Now I'm all in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, a huge. I mean,
wow.
Maybe tropical fruit.
Really nice
like
sweetness.
It's super fruity, super sweet.
Yeah.
Mild peat on the palate for sure.
Mm-hmm. The peat comes up at the finish for the most part.
Yeah, it does. But it's not. It's not there like it was on the nose. Like the nose, like yeah, this is definitely peated. It's not super peaty, but it was definitely peated. But man, super sweet, super fruity. I'm looking forward to this with some ice. Oh, I didn't drop that.
Yeah, I have a good feeling about this with ice. Yeah, I'm really impressed. It's hard to even on a single malt to get that level of fruitiness. You might get it from like an Irish whiskey, but this is nice. Yeah, like tropical type fruits. It's not appley in my opinion.
No,
it's
like so good.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it.
Oh, this is might be one of my new faves. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's up
there.
Yeah. Wow.
And contrasting to like Del Bach or something like that, this is a lot more fruity, a lot more, and even contrasting to like Ardbeg or Lafroig or something like that. Although Lafroig, I've had some really nice fruity ones, but more of a appley fruity. From not all Lafroigs, but some of them I've had. But this is like even the finish, like I said, it's smoky, but then there's like secondary finish that's just like this is after you sipped it like 30 seconds ago. That's still fruity in a different way, but it's almost like candy fruity in my opinion.
It is. No, I was just gonna say it's kind of like a gosh, what is it? I think High Chews. You ever eat High Chews?
Mm-hmm.
They have like a pineapple-y tropical fruit one, I think, and I want to say it's like almost like an artificial tropical fruit.
Totally.
So very candy-ish.
It's like where watermelon tastes nothing like watermelon, but it's delicious.
Yeah. So banana flavoring. Do you like banana candy?
I like banana candy. I don't like bananas.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I think I saw this somewhere where the banana flavoring for most candies is based off of an extinct banana.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's why the banana flavoring doesn't taste like a banana that we eat.
And it's pretty much always artificial flavoring.
Yep. I love banana flavored Laffy Taffies. Those are like
they'll mess you up in a good way. Like you'll get hooked. It's kind of like the gateway drug besides Skittles.
Yeah. No, whiskey's the gateway drug to Skittles.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
This is the gateway drug to whiskey. Is banana Laffy Taffies. I'm adding some of my limestone filtered water. Oh, I forgot to mention this whiskey on the label. It says non-chill filtered. Hey,
that's not the name of the podcast.
Shout out to Matt Porter, who recently brought that up in a comment on YouTube, and I was like, yes, someone listens. Not that people don't listen, and not that Matt doesn't listen. It's just like I appreciate when jokes are brought up to us that we've said. Like recurring jokes are great.
It's like I made myself laugh with this. I'm glad someone else enjoyed it.
Exactly. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Chelsea always makes fun of me for laughing at my own jokes. I am my biggest fan. Yeah.
No, I'm a big fan too, but not
nose wise. Something
interesting difference.
It is. There's a note there I can't pick up. I can't name. I'm picking it up. Obviously, just can't name it right now.
There's a little bit of oak showing up to me.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's not. It reminds me of a small barrel oak, but for a moment, for the nose,
So I think I have a problem recognizing when I smell oak. I really do, or taste oak, and then you say it's oaky. I'm like, oh yeah, it is oaky.
Mhm.
There's like a weird. And this sounds weird. It's like cotton almost. Like there's like a cottony kind of a note. I
Mhm.
can't put my. It's like very light and fluffy in the nose. Like I don't
Yeah.
know. Oh, this is weird. This is almost like my Chuck E. Cheese reference here, but it's
No,
like
this is a great reference.
I don't
The
know.
Chuck E. Cheese reference goes down in history. One of the
The
greatest
annals of
references.
history.
Yeah.
Annals. Sorry.
Explicit rating.
Yeah.
Although
Sorry.
that's not a bad word, but it's a bad thought. No, I'm kidding. Um, for it's a very interesting contrast of the water
is.
pour versus the neat pour. Um, and it is a lot more smoky with the water. I only dropped a few drops in this amount right here, and it really smoked it up. But it's still fruity, but it's a lot more smoky than it really was, which is crazy to me.
The mouthfeel with a little bit more water. So if neat
Does
wise,
it thicken in your mouth?
and it's thicker in your mouth. So neat wise, it was like this flavor explosion of just
Yeah.
fruitiness. Water, definitely a little bit more peat on the like
Mhm.
it shows up sooner on the back
Yeah,
end.
for sure.
The fruitiness is not there, but the mouthfeel is amazing. I think it's
Yeah.
just a very.
It's kind of a trade-off.
It feels colder. Like I
Weird.
don't know. It feels
Can't wait
colder
till
on my palate
ice.
for sure.
Oh, yeah?
Oh,
Mhm.
holy moly! Yeah, no, I am, dude. This is worth it. I would
I'll try to
pick
find
up
you
a
a
bottle of
bottle.
this any day. This is so good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
just,
it's
I maybe
go ahead.
go ahead.
I just feel
I
like
just
this
feel like,
is
oh,
no, you go.
no, go ahead.
Um, this is very different than your typical Isla peated scotch. It's much more I wouldn't call it lighter, but it is. It's not a lighter in flavor, but, like, compared to a peated Isla, it is, like, brighter. Brighter is probably a better word than lighter. It's not
It
as,
rhymes.
salty, like just that Isla density and that savoriness. This is a
Mhm,
much more sweet and fruity, even though there are sweet and fruity peated whiskeys, especially
mhm.
Isla's. This is brighter in the fruit, and just altogether, it's pretty great.
Yeah, no, I'm loving it. I
Hmm.
think maybe, and I was thinking maybe I just don't drink enough scotches or peated or smoked things
Hmm.
because the last time I was like, dude, I got to get this was when we had the Nika
Yeah,
straight from
totally.
the barrel, and like this
Hmm.
has kind of hit me on that level. So maybe I just need to do that a little bit more. So cool. I'm gonna do my ice grenade.
Me too.
You right? Spit out the pen,
I should
and
do
then
that
you
too because
you
all
do
my
it.
pieces
You
are big.
throw it in. Yeah.
Wait 5 seconds.
Fire in
Not
the hole.
what's
Boom.
the Monty Python line where he's like, "Not this many seconds." Not you know what I'm talking about? Are you much
Take
of
the
a
holy hand grenade and
yeah.
count to 3. No more, no less.
Yeah.
3 is the number you shall count to. Yeah.
It's great franchise there.
Yeah. I love Monty Python. I remember watching with my dad when I was a kid.
Nice.
And I didn't quite get it, but they like the humor I didn't understand, but the animation, the like
Mhm.
just like the silliness,
Oh,
I
yeah, yeah.
freaking love you. As a kid, you love it.
Yeah.
And then you grow up and you're like, this is funny on another level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure. I love the line where he pops by the peasant, and then the peasant like breaks down the government, and like it's just like he's like I forget what he says, but someone out there will like totally get it. But where he's like I said shut up. I need to
Mm,
watch that more. I got it. I watched a Mel Brooks movie recently, and it just wasn't cutting it for me. It was
which one?
Robin Hood Men in Tights. And I
Oh,
feel like Mel Brooks and Monty
that
Python are very similar
yes.
in style. Yeah.
And tone at least.
Tone,
Yeah.
certainly. You see this
Um,
condensation on my glass?
I do.
Yeah.
You gotta throw a big cube in there.
Big
Big
cube.
explosion. So disappointed. And this is still good, but it's not hitting the level I was. You know what I mean? Like sometimes
Mhm.
with a scotch or something peated, the ice in it. I mean,
Yeah, I guess
It's okay. It's
55%.
good.
Yeah, it isn't bad.
It's good.
There's no
But like
bitterness. There's no like. It's
compared to
just
the
not as
first
good.
two, yeah,
Mhm.
dude, neat though. This is like a flavor explosion, man. It's been a while since we've had a hubbadawhat. I've had a
That's
hubbadawhat at
true.
least.
We've had like barely hubbadawhats, but this is surprising. I mean, it really comes down to, and I'll get to my rating in a bit, but it really comes down to how bright this is and tropical fruity this is on the
Mhm.
front and even the final end of the palate or the final end of the finish. Um, yeah, India's got something good, guys.
Mhm.
Don't foo-foo them, or what's the word I'm looking for?
Poo poo.
Poo-poo. Yeah, that's probably a better way.
Foo
Don't
foo.
poo-poo. Foo-foo. But don't foo-foo them either.
Don't.
They'll fight you
Oh.
on the street. Still a good nose. It's just lighter. What are you saying? What are you thinking?
We'll fight you on the street.
Mm.
I don't know. Just
For our YouTube listeners or
you,
YouTube watchers.
you were just like, yeah, so goofy, and then like,
I love
serious, man. Okay.
We're having a good time.
It's always a good time.
No, that's for sure. That's why I keep coming back. And
All
that's why our listeners keep coming back. Now I'm saying, listeners, high five.
Oh.
All right. Oh, sorry, I hit you in the face.
Oh
by
man,
accident.
these visual gimmicks are on point.
So,
Was that a
what do you-
special effect? No, we're just masters of our craft.
Do you know who not Julian, Michel Gondry is?
No.
Have you ever seen the Everlong music video?
Yes. Been a while.
Have you ever seen the movie called Be Kind, Rewind with Jack Black and Mos Def?
Ooh, been a long time ago, yeah.
So he's the director of those kind of. You ever seen
okay.
The Hardest Button to Button by the White Stripes music video? Where it's like dun, 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 and there's like drums moving throughout the whole, and like
Probably.
it's really great. And he's done a few other music videos as well as movies, but he is the master of low expense special effects. Like basically like not doing it on a computer, but doing it in other ways, basically. I mean, some of the stuff is like computer, but it's like very low budget special effects.
Nice.
And that's what he's known for is he could probably spend more on special effects, but he likes the idea of like,
he could probably drink 2%.
Yeah. In the Everlong music video, this like hit what's his name? Dave Grohl's hand becomes really, really big. And that was all like cheap special effects and stuff like that. It's like that's a great music video. And then when the guy comes out, and you got to look this up on YouTube, guys. The Everlong music video. This guy like pops out of the bed and just is the drummer. All this, it's like what's his name, Taylor Hawkins or whatever. But like pops out of the bed and just is like playing the drums. It's very, very. I wish I could explain it better, but you just got to watch it.
How about you know what's better than watching a music video?
Spin this, John.
You know, better than watching a really good music video is listening to somebody describe a visual medium over an audio format.
That's a good recurring joke right there.
Yeah, it is. It's just,
that's the best thing is like recurring jokes. So anyway, rating. Any more notes on the ice for you?
No, it's got the peat stands out a ton, so it's super smoky on the ice. And I don't know if that's just because the more you've been drinking it, the note kind of lingers there.
No, I really think it's the ice.
It was a lot smokier. So,
but here's the thing: is like that's rare. Is when you water it down, the peat stands out more.
Yeah.
Normally, the fruitiness stands out more.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. So I would recommend this neat most of all.
But you're not going to go. You can't go wrong. You know, either way, it's delicious.
Yeah,
delicioso.
You want me to go to the rating first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to go with a 9.18. Not yet a 9.2, but it is hubbadawhat. Like the first time I had this, I guess I didn't notice some of these notes that it was like, it truly did have a bright tropical fruitiness on the front of the palate that was definitely eye-opening. And this John is really, like that is truly a hubbadawhat is when you're able to get a nice fruitiness from a single malt single malt whiskey Homeboy's gonna be like, "Oh, it's inaccurate. He mentioned the
Shut
word
up,
Scotch when it wasn't a
Steve
Scotch." Yeah,
Mizzlepick.
exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah. I'm gonna go 9.4 on this. I freaking love
nice.
it. It was
Mm-hmm.
delicious. And I think that's one of the things that I love is when you do get a hubbadawhat, like, oh my god, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's because I had low expectations. I don't know, but flavor bomb of tropical
Mm-hmm.
fruitiness, and it just, it just boom right there.
I
I'm
got to go
tropical
back to
fruit.
the
I'm here
neat.
to stay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the thing. I'm hanging out with a buddy tonight. I'm gonna take this
Nice.
over.
Nice.
I got some dregs there, so I'm gonna take it
Yeah.
over and just see what he thinks. I'm like, save the bomb for him.
Yeah. How much would you pay for a bottle like this?
I think 90 is about right.
Yeah, that's a great
I
price.
think
That's
it's
what I'm
about right.
saying. Yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's worth it for sure.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah. Good on you, India.
I don't know if I go much higher than that, just because it's hard to justify spending more than that on a bottle of whiskey,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
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 So
Shout out to John Distilleries, spelled the correct way, not the Philly way. So, I guess that covers our rating and what we think
it
of this
does.
whiskey,
It
which
does,
is
yeah.
actually it's not often we get a hubbadawhat. It's not often we get a double 9+ rating. So we'll shout out to 9+ ratings. But before we shout out, after we shout out, I don't even know what I'm saying. But speaking of shout out to 9+ ratings, let's send it over to our favorite, not favorite, maybe it's your favorite segment of our show. We like to call Whiskey World News.
And we're back. It's time for Whiskey World News, part of the show where I read an article, Cole and I talk about it. We didn't read it. No, we read it. I read
read
it.
it
We
already.
didn't. I read it. He didn't read it. We didn't
didn't
write
read
it.
No.
He didn't wrote it.
I
But we're
did
gonna talk
not
about
done write it.
This one comes from Gear Patrol, written by Tyler Chin, and it's titled "Buffalo Trace's latest bourbon goes big with NFT actual giant bottle."
Huge
And
bottle.
have you heard this?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So
Enormous OFC bottle. Yeah.
Let's talk about it, brah.
Let's talk
In
about it.
1982, Buffalo Trace Distillery, then George T. Stagg Distillery, distilled some bourbon, aged it for 19 years, then left it to rest for 21 years in a stainless steel tanks to stop the aging. This extra aged bourbon is part of the OFC vintage. Buffalo Trace's line of ultra rare vintage dated bourbon. And what better way to offer something of extreme value in 2022 than by auctioning it off as an NFT? Buffalo Trace is auctioning off 5 6-liter bottles of its OFC vintage 1982 bourbon whiskey on Block Bar, a direct-to-consumer NFT platform for wine and spirits brands. So when you're placing bids on those bottles of 19-year-old bourbon, you're actually placing a bid on an NFT that represents the bottle you own. Block Bar works by storing your valuable bottle while you hold the NFT that represents your bottle's authenticity and ownership. Once you're ready to receive your bottle, you essentially burn your NFT in exchange for the physical product. The point of buying an NFT of the bourbon has less to do with the actual drinking of the bourbon and more with the investing your money. As Block Bar mentions on its website, the high-end spirits as an asset have outperformed gold and the S&P 500. Holding an NFT of a rare spirit ensures its authenticity, making it easier to trade and increase its value. But we're not here to talk the benefits of NFTs, especially when we're still not 100% sure what it means. That's me. I'm like, I get it, but I don't.
Yeah.
We're about the whiskey. The 5 bottles of OFC vintage 1982 bourbon whiskey are described as having extraordinary richness and butteriness with layers of apple, pecans, ripened pear, dark Belgian chocolate, caramel, and a kiss of black cherries. While most of us common folk won't be able to try this whiskey, Harlan Wheatley, Buffalo Trace's master distiller, has. This remarkable whiskey transitions to a memorable finish of dry fruit with a delightful lingering oak, Wheatley says, all the time knowing that you're tasting history as you taste the last drops of this truly is a once-in-a-lifetime tasting experience. The auction on Block Bar runs between March 14th, 10 a.m. at Eastern Standard Time, and March 18th to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. With a starting bid of $2,500. So, hey, folks,
it'll reach a
listeners,
lot more than that.
Yeah, that's just the starting bid. But anyway, Cole, what are your thoughts on that?
So first thought, I've had an OFC. My homeboy, Brandon Hunt had a 1993 vintage, and he popped it for his brother's bachelor party, I want to say, and he had a little left over, and I'm like, bro, are you kidding me? OFC is like the unicorn of unicorns. So I was so happy to have tried that. You know, like, was it worth? I don't even know what the value is on the secondary, but it's got to be like at least $5,000, if not like up to 10 grand or more. Someone can correct me on that, and I'm down to hear that. But I thought it was amazing. Don't get me wrong. It was incredible. But is it worth 10 grand or 5 grand? No. But that being said, maybe some are, and I don't know if any whiskey is ever worth 5 grand, for the record. But I'm going to say this on record right now, and I might be wrong, and I'm down to be wrong. And hopefully one day someone will correct me, but I don't think NFTs are going to be as big a deal as people say they are. People like will defend NFTs to the core of like saying, you know, like people said the internet wasn't going to be big, but now it is. Like, anyone can say that about anything. And it's like they just want it to do well so that their investment does well. That's the thing about NFTs, in my opinion. They're just saying that so that they don't lose value. So it's basically a hype thing. That's all I'm saying about NFTs. I am down to be wrong. But I do not think NFTs are worth that much. That being said, this isn't about an NFT. It's about a bottle. It's about a 6 freaking liter bottle, which is huge, for the record, and will take a long time to drink if you're doing it right.
That's like 2 liters of Pepsi.
Yeah,
it's equivalent.
Yeah, no, that's like,
in my opinion, price as well. I would pay $2,500 for a 6 liter bottle of Pepsi.
That is 8 typical bottles. Yeah, that's 8.
I'd rather have Pepsi.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I'm in agreement. Like maybe it's because the whole NFT thing. I like whatever. Like, take a screenshot. Yeah. It's mine now. Ha ha ha. But
exactly.
Proprietary processing rights. Okay,
yeah,
whatever.
Trade that in.
But anyway, so like when I was reading it first, because I'm very skeptical, because that's just, I'm an old man. But I thought this is a pretty cool way to be like, okay, I have this bottle. Because here's my problem. I like to open bottles. If I had that bottle, I would probably open it.
Thought about it, yeah.
But to have it the NFT and be like, okay, I have this bottle, but I don't have this bottle. I kind of like that. I think it's kind of a cool way to save your collection.
So, yeah. And speaking of rare bottles, Virginia is doing their lotteries right now, and I'm like on it.
Yeah,
I haven't won anything yet, but I am hoping the one that's going on this week is the Pappy Van Winkle 23, 20, and 15, and I would love to win one of those. But I have a feeling I won't. But last year I won 2 bottles on the Virginia lottery, and I'll keep the hope up. So
keep the faith.
That's what I think. Keep the faith. Your own personal faith. Jesus.
Ooh,
reach out and touch faith.
All right, let's move along here to what whiskey would you choose? Last week we were talking, what whiskey is your favorite on ice? And Cole went with, I
think this is the biggest split ever.
Oh yeah, it's huge. It was like 85-15. Cole won.
I'm surprised it even when I looked at it, it was 100%.
It was for a while there,
but then you voted.
I did. Oh well, we'll get to that, my friend.
That's funny.
Monfrere. Cole went traditional Redbreast 12, cask strength. I went with Dewar's with a little club soda and lemon. And to be honest, if you just offered me either or, I would take the Redbreast.
Nice.
But there's something about the Dewar's. It's just a long sip.
I barely know hers.
I think it's when I'm at the movie theater, I'm not thinking about kids. I'm not thinking about work. I'm engrossed in a movie and I'm having a drink. So to me, the experience there is better. But Cole won 85-15. And quick shout out to Ben Klepsig.
Yeah.
And
multiple
Caleb Olson, the Bourbon Badger.
Because
those two sided with me. And that,
really?
And they're heavy hitters. They're heavy hitters in the Chill Filtered podcast /YouTube. And I felt kind of justified. Now, that being said, you had a lot more heavy hitters.
No, for sure. Well, so this was the first time that we've gotten multiple people give the same answer for the written portion.
Absolutely. So let's get to that. So Ben Klepsig and Bro Tascanaskanosa, both, and Nathan Anthony.
Yeah.
Yep. All went with Nika straight from the barrel.
Good for you guys. That's a fantastic ice pour.
Yeah. And then what was it? Rhino 7023 Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel.
Thanks for hitting us up, Rhino 73.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more from you, buddy.
Yeah, reach out, man.
And touch me. Oh, that didn't work.
Touch Faith. Well, you can touch me too, I guess, but just not like above the waist.
Is it reach out and touch? Is it reach out and touch Faith? Is that what
Faith?
They say?
Yeah.
I always thought it was me.
I always thought it was Flame for some reason. Reach out and touch flame. But it sounds like Flame. But I learned that later.
Sounds like me. Now I gotta go back and listen to it.
Depeche Mode, clear it up. Yeah, but it is Faith for the record.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mario Casey went with Anything Castrate from Del Bach.
Nice.
And Brian Rapp went with Wilderness Trail Ride. So
love it.
There's some good ones. Yeah.
All
right, Cole. Yeah. What's coming up this week?
What's coming up today?
You wouldn't know it by looking at our drinking lineups.
But Billy Corgan's birthday is coming up. And I want people to know, I want to ask people, what are you drinking for Billy Corgan's birthday?
Okay, Billy Corgan's birthday. I'm drinking. This week I did pick up an A. Smith Bowman port finish. So,
nice. Oh, yeah. So good. So good.
There's been a lot on the shelves here too. Is that a harder one to find?
In maybe Idaho, but not in Virginia.
Not Virginia. Yeah,
because it's a Virginia product. Yeah,
I've seen
actually. So I'm going to A. Smith Bowman in a week from a week and a half from the time we're releasing this episode.
So that's what I'm drinking, because if his port wine birthmark stains, what is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's got
why
port
I went
wine
there.
Stains. Yeah,
but actually, no. This week's what whiskey would you choose is not what are you drinking for Billy Corgan's birthday. It's what are you drinking on St. Patrick's Day. What are you going to be drinking on the top of the morning?
Top of the muffin to you.
Top of the muffin to you. What are you going to drink on St. Patty's Day, Cole?
So I'm just going to go with what's on my shelf. And right now I have Redbreast single barrel, and I have Redbreast 21, and I have Jameson Black Barrel. Out of those three, I'm probably going to take a sip of the 21. So I might win this week just because I have a fancier pour. But I don't know. Maybe you have an even fancier pour.
I don't have a fancier pour, but I have that. I have a little bit of you gave me some just for fun, and I've been holding on to it. So maybe I'll do that as well.
Nice.
Maybe I'll do Redbreast 21.
Vote between Redbreast 21 and Redbreast 21 this week.
It's a popularity contest.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll say Robby's Redbreast 21 versus Cole's Redbreast 21. I love this idea.
Do you really want to do this? Because I was actually going to drink some Jameson Black Barrel.
People will feel bad for either of us and be like, "Well, Cole probably needs more votes."
Let's do this. Let's we'll both drink Redbreast 21.
Yeah,
but let's on whose beard looks better.
Yeah,
give him a shot of your beard
and check us out on YouTube if you don't remember.
We'll post the beard. So whose beard looks better? I did trim my beard this week. I thought I was at a good point. My wife was like, I don't like it. And she's the one that's got to look at me. So I like to put her longer. All right. That's an interesting what whiskey would you choose?
It is. You
know what we should do sometime?
What?
One of us be the positive, the other be the negative, and we'll shave our beards. So like if you shave to have a mustache.
Oh, the other
so you have a mustache. I would have nothing else. Yes. Right? No, I want to
be the mustache.
Okay. Or like if you do like a Fu Manchu kind of a thing, like I just keep this in the chops.
That's great. Like a goatee or like a soul patch chops. I love it. So next week we haven't even talked about what we're gonna but I am looking at Weller Full Proof. Do you want to offer up something else? Well, I would love to drink that Weller.
I have Weller Full Proof on my desk right now, so I want to do that one too. And then what's one that we have that's similar?
High caliber? Yeah. What about Weller Full Proof versus? What about the King Alexander III Scotch that CRO sent us? Man. Yeah,
I am ready to do it. After today, I'm ready for some more peat.
Seriously,
I'm looking for some adventures of peat.
Dalmore's not going to be peat though.
Oh,
Dalmore is a Highland.
I'm joking. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah, sorry for the inaccuracy. But yeah, we're gonna go between Dalmore King Alexander III, and we're gonna go between Weller Full Proof. So I can assure you that Weller Full Proof will not have as much cool history or cool new history as Dalmore will. But if you're into that kind of thing and you want to find out what Weller Full Proof tastes like, vote on Instagram. If you're not sure of what you want to do, vote on Instagram. If you don't have an Instagram, get an Instagram and vote on Instagram. So
if you don't have an Instagram, steal your child's phone.
Yeah.
Get on their Instagram.
Yep. Because they
Find
definitely
some
have
stranger, ask them if his phone has Instagram, and you steal their phone.
That reminds me of Remember the Titans? Like, if you don't have a tie, find some bum on the street and grab his tie or something like that. Yeah.
So I was not a huge Remember the Titans fan.
So Remember the Titans I was like 9 when that came out. And so I was like, the world is racist and we need a cure. And like, I'm not saying the world is not racist now, or like needs to address, that's the better way to put it, needs to address racism now. The world, is, to be honest, the world was probably just as much, if not less or more, one of the three racist in the late 90s. But like, I was young. You were like in college when Remember the Titans came out. I love that movie.
High school.
Okay.
I just know a lot of people love it. But look at you, deep thinking Cole at 9 years old.
Yeah, I was like, I need to address this, and I need to be a better white man. So
I just think about that every day for myself. I wake up and it reminds me of The Jerk with Steve Martin.
You're like, I need to be a better white man.
I was born a poor young black man. And I wake up thinking that every morning, and then I look in the mirror and go, oh, I need to be a better white man. Have you ever seen The Jerk, right?
We've talked about this. I've never seen The Jerk.
You gotta watch. That's right. You have to watch The Jerk. I was born a poor young black man. It is phenomenal.
I gotta see it. I just gotta set aside the time. I hope that I will set aside the time this week.
Cool. And I hope you are a better white man.
And I hope that you are a better bearded white man.
I hope you're the better bearded white man. But most of all, listeners, I hope you vote for the better bearded white man.
Yeah.
And I hope our love of spirits lifted yours. Annals. Sorry.
Explicit rating. Although,
sorry.
That's not a bad word. It's a bad thought.